Still here for a couple minutes, man. What's going on, you guys? We're gonna
What's going on,
what's going
brother?
on? How you been, Malik?
Been doing well. Been
That's
doing
what's up.
well.
That's what's up. People fill in, come through here. If they want to come through. If not, we always put these videos on the video. So easy day. So is it an archipelago?
Huh?
Sounds like an archipelago.
Is it all good?
Yeah, it is. I've got an archipelago going on. Hold on one second, okay?
No, you good. I'm gonna go hook my speaker
One
up.
second.
Let's see. Hook my speaker up. Let's see. Oh, damn it. All right.
You already got it? Okay, I'll turn it on.
Yeah,
Not
just
gonna be here too much.
seeing this- can you hear me
All
now?
right, I can hear you, man. I was just making sure the. I had looked. I think I had an echo earlier. I don't think I don't have an echo anymore. Just want to make sure that was
Okay.
good to go. That's cool. All right,
All right.
got it down, man.
Sorry, everybody
Okay,
out there. We just
now we just getting it set up here. Getting it set up this Saturday. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, though. I'm in South Carolina myself. Malik, my buddy Malik here is in
and I'm in the
Georgia.
state of Georgia.
Hmm. Oh, cool. All right. You ready to pop off and get started a little bit, man?
Ready to
All right.
pop off.
All right, bud. So this video here, man, we're just coming on here. This is just two old friends talking. Um, I'm your boy Tuck. Some of you know me on here. I'm a little newer on here. My buddy Malik Hendrix, he's about to get his page started, get his whole thing going on here. This video is basically talking about this nickname Xennial nostalgia. So, you got Gen X, you got millennials. We're both in the age group of the Xennials, man. We went to high school together. We ain't seen each other in person in over 20 years due to my service and stuff, man. But we're long due for a reunion. But we're just gonna bust into it, man. Again, Malik, welcome, man.
Thank
Tell
you
the audience a little
for
about
having me.
yourself.
It's good to
A
see
little
you,
about
man.
yourself.
My name is Malik Hendrix. I'm a military brat. I'm originally from New York. Lived all over the world. Terms like we lived in Germany for 2 years. Then we traveled to Belgium and France. And then even as a little kid, I was 2 or 3 years old. It was still memorable because I came back stateside, lived in Colorado and Texas. And then my father got out of Texas and we Georgia.
That's
And
awesome.
been here ever since. And then thank you. Um, the greatest part of it is I got to meet you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, in our whole crew. Um, that was I think every day about it that the experiences that I've had and I'm going through as an adult, um, it always takes me back to where never forget where you're from. And Earl, as well as and a couple of our crew, um, we made ourselves strong. We made ourselves strong, and I just want to say too, I'm proud of you for going to the Navy and having a family and kids, and that pushes me every day. And Earl, I probably never told you this. Um, Ever since I found out when you went to the Navy when you graduated, I was so proud every day because I knew that this would have been the life for you. I always tell people traveling is the only way to go because you get to learn about people, you get to learn their culture, and I'm all about culture.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Let me cut you off, but you're absolutely right, man. And something we have in common is um, we both were military brats. I ended up going. We're gonna start back a little bit. Um, we both are Georgia transplants as well. We both neither one. We didn't grow up in Georgia. We grew up in our most primitive years in the state of Georgia. Um, at a time
right.
we were both grew up in Cobb County, Georgia, Marietta to be as they used to do to be exact. But we took on the culture at the time. We went to the middle, went to Smith Middle School, went on to Osborne High School, and we had a crew, man. It was pretty good, man. It was pretty good. Before I get into some more of your background, I got a question for you. When you moved to Georgia,
Okay.
was there a cultural was there a different culture than it was where you were at before? Like I think New York, I think you were in New York before.
So
Was the culture different? This had to be the early '90s, so I know Atlanta was starting to boom by that time. Was there a big change
right.
when you moved down there? Was it like a foreign country almost? It was for me. It was very different. Them cats talk very country. I was like,
So
I don't understand what some of these other black folk are talking about. That was my experience when I first moved to Cobb County in fifth grade. Real talk. But go ahead, buddy.
so now when I left New York, I left had to have been the age 3 years old because my father, that was in the United States Army, he took a military plane to Germany, and we stayed things and for us to come over there. But to answer your question, yeah, it was a very different cultural change because when you're living in one area of a section for for some years, and then you move to different areas in the world, part of the world, it's all a culture shock. It was a big culture shock when I came out here. Then, even though it was 1980, we were in the late 80s, and I always knew about the South from the education I've gotten over the years from all the schools that I went to. But I think what was different, the South was still the South. It didn't matter what time frame we were in, what planet we were on. It was a big culture shock because when I was in Atlanta, Marietta, Renalo, Cobb County, I felt like they didn't get the kind of um, what am I word use the word? I don't think they got the same kind of availability that I was able to be privy to, that you were able to be privy to.
Agree.
And what I mean by availability,
I like that. Would you say
oh, go ahead. What are you about to
would
say?
you say that somebody like yourself and I probably stuck out like a sore thumb, so to speak?
I say we stick out like, you know, I we got, because when, like, for instance, when we lived in Germany, everybody in the world knows about Germany. Everybody knows how Hitler and all them sick SS cats, were just like murdering innocent people. So coming from New York, and the culture was already established. Germany's culture was already established for being in a different country. Living in Colorado, in Texas, they were already established because there were different places, but there were loving places. It's when I came down here, not so loving. People say that the South is, what is it, the home or the love or something like that. But I didn't really feel, now I'm not going to say all the way I didn't feel love because, getting to meet you, getting to meet our other crew and became a
You
crew,
mean like
that was probably the pinnacle.
your initial hit on boots on ground? It wasn't like that. I was. I
Right,
kind of say the
right.
same thing, man.
Um,
I kind of agree with you there because we're not quite to where we met each other. We didn't know each other then. I moved to Cobb County in 1991. I was in fifth grade. I went to Russell Elementary
okay.
School. Hey, I lived off of Austell Road at the apartments by the Uptons. I lived right there for before we moved in the house that we stay at now. Yes. So I moved there, man, and I was coming from. My dad was military. My, I was coming from Japan. We were stationed in Japan before there. Uh,
Wow.
I first came here, and I could just remember. I mean, I met some good people. Don't get me wrong, but it was like like you were saying, it was a culture shock with a. And I'm just gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it 100, man. With this, that's how we do on the show. We talk it real. It was a culture shock more so for people that look like
Yeah.
me. Be honest. I'm just gonna be absolutely honest and real. I'm not gonna
Right,
bullshit nobody. I'm not gonna try to stick into the cultural norms. I'm gonna talk about what I've dealt with and what I felt. That's what I did. It was different. Now I had some good friends that were my skin color as well, but it was more difficult
right,
to make at that time. I'm talking about as a fifth grader coming in from overseas. I was basically on the West Coast for most of my
right,
younger childhood being over there. I was used to hanging out with kids from California, kids from Hawaii, kids from
right.
Japan. It was a whole different, it's a whole, this whole different thing. There it is. Real talk. What up, dude? Hey, that's my dude right there, man. What's going on? We up on here. It's my boy Malik. That's my sister's
Hey, how you
boyfriend.
doing? What's good, man?
So yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my dog right there. But yeah, man,
But
you know what I'm saying though? It was different. It was very different.
yeah,
You
yeah,
went and
because it was
you was
just
at
it's
Garrett. You
because
was at Garrett Element. You was at Garrett Middle, right?
yeah,
Did
I
you
was
go
at
to
Garrett.
Garrett?
I was at Garrett.
Okay, so let's stop here
I
real
went to
quick. Here's
Garrett.
where we are. 'Cause we're on the topic of sharing your
Sure.
experiences and stuff, how we met. What was Garrett Middle School like for you? This was in Austell, Georgia. What was it like, man? Because my memories of
Right.
Garrett Middle School, my half of the year, I didn't like it. I only went to Garrett for half of sixth grade, and then I went to Floyd Middle School in Mableton. I went to Mableton after that. Garrett was, man.
Okay.
Tell me, give me your. You were a year ahead of me in school. Give me your. What did you think of Garrett Middle School, man, back then?
So Garrett was different from Hollydale Elementary, and this is before when we went to Smitha. So the kids in my neighborhood was all going to the same schools. What made it unique for me that going, well, living in the same neighborhood, still be able to keep my friends. So that was more important to me. Now, when I went to Garrett, it was actually I met a group of kids. I met a group of kids, and one of my best friends. Give a shout out to my man Stephen Callahan. I haven't seen you in decades. Wherever you are out there, I hope you're doing good. Um, they. I met a group of kids like when I met you guys. So, having that experience with meeting different kids over there and finding the right kids was almost like hanging with guys
Okay,
because
good.
they were like minded. We were all there for the same reason, was trying to get education. But when you want to go have fun, you want to be able to hang with your friends and eat lunch and go talk to girls even then,
Of course.
and act a fool, be wild, and it was a great experience. And when I went to Smith, it got even greater because I got to see the kids that I originally started with.
Hmm.
Because when I went to Garrett, I had met different people, and it wasn't like you guys, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I still was able to gravitate to being who I am and making the best of the situation and actually really want to genuinely gain friendship because I believe friends is important. Just as
Yeah.
family's gonna be different because it's family, but equally what I mean is it's on that same level. even though family is going to be a little bit more of a notch, but it's on a basic balanced level
Yeah,
to
real
where
friends,
you
real
can have
friends.
your
Yeah.
friends like you, real friends like you and I. Like you're not just my best friend, man. You're my brother,
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
I got love for you and your family and your new family. And that's what was the difference for me. So when I got to go to Smith and got to see everybody that I went to Hollydale with, because everybody else was going to tap, and it was just crazy. And that was the thing I wanted to say too. The Back then, if you remember, they were doing the what was it, the redistricting,
Yeah,
and it was all the way.
yeah. Redistricting. Yeah,
And
McKee. Yeah, with Tap Middle School. Because where I lived at,
yeah,
out, out the house that we were zoned for Floyd Middle School. So I went to Floyd
yeah,
that second half of sixth grade. Floyd was good. I
okay,
like Floyd. But dude,
okay.
I'm gonna tell you the school that changed my life. What I'm about to say before we all Smith Middle School was it, boy. That was it. That was the
Amen, brother.
perfect school, dog. Was it not? Smith Middle School was awesome.
What would they?
Great school, great
Right,
teachers,
right.
man. That's where I really began to flourish at Smith. Seventh, eighth grade there. I know you
And
were
you
a
know what
first
was
graduate. You were one of the first graduates of the school there, eighth graders. I was right behind you. Man, Smith was amazing,
a
dog.
great.
Amazing.
And you know what's crazy, Earl, too, because and I wanted to tell you before I got off subject. But Smitha was the pinnacle for me from Hollydale students to Smitha students to Osborne students. So
Yeah.
I was able to get all the best of the both worlds culturally,
Oh yeah.
because of the kids. Even though that I was still in the same neighborhood that where the kids was going to tap, and I would always see, but the cultural difference at Garrett was it tried to be there. It tried to be there. I
Yeah.
had one white kid. Uh, his name was well, he this white kid named Adam back then. And my teacher gives shouts out to Miss Bennett. She was a really really cool lady that I had over there. And before I was able to react, she jumped on him like lightning. She's like, "No, we don't say that here.
Yeah.
Get your ass and go to the fucking office. We don't say that here." Because the
Yeah.
kids I was with was
Yeah.
but we don't say that because my man I gave shots out Steven, he's Irish. My shots out to Tamika, Black Chick, and Brad and Scott, and my man Roddy from Miami. He was there, so it was the culture was that was it. I didn't really mix in with other kids from Garrett unless they went
Yeah.
from where I was living and went to Hollydale. But that was my crew with them guys, and I miss them dearly. But Smith, and I want to give a shout out to you, brother, because I'm so appreciative of giving me this opportunity. But Smith was so grandeur. You know what I'm saying? It was it was seasoned. You know what I'm saying? It was
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. I know
Everything
what you're
just
saying.
made it better because I got to see kids I had to see, and I got to meet new kids. That's why I met you. Even though we didn't start hanging until
The high
when I was in
school.
10th grade
Yeah.
in high
Yeah. I
school,
got to
but
Osborne.
Smith,
And I wanna
it was,
say
and you're right.
and I wanna save Osborne for our
Sure.
third segment. But yeah, yeah, you're right though.
Oh yeah,
I wanna save that's a
that's the
I want
third,
to
fourth,
save
and
that for
fifth.
our third. I want to save that one because we're finishing off our first segment now. I want to save Osborne for our third segment, man. That's probably going to be our best one. But you're right. You're right. But you're right. I want to add on Smitha, man. You're right, and I like how you say that school is seasoned, very seasoned school, very
Right.
it's like the school that you would think of. It was the American school, man. It was it. It was the school to go to.
It
Nobody else
was.
could. No other middle school around us could hold a candle up to Smith Middle School, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. Not Tap,
No.
not Garrett, not Floyd.
Nope.
None of them.
Nope.
Smith had them
And
all.
you know
I was
what's so
proud
great about
kids at school, bro. know what I'm saying? I was proud of that shit.
And me too. Me
I was
too.
proud of it,
And
man. It was
I didn't
really
mean to
good.
cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it was. You see, for me, I loved it because it had a lot of potential. It had a lot of potential for growth expansion, friendship expansion. Everything was brand new. Matter
Hmm.
of fact, I actually live a block over from Smithville. I
Yeah,
remember when we had a
I
school
remember.
dance.
Yeah,
Huh?
I
Oh, you
remember.
remember?
Yeah.
And so I remember when everybody that was leaving go home on the bus or leave from a dance, we would walk home. And that
Hmm.
always, to me, was the American dream because the fact that I get to live there, because you see it in movies and TV, kids are close. It's just
Yeah.
always something about it made it more memorable. The school was very, very memorable. And it made it so memorable that getting to walk home, if I knew I was going to be late, I didn't have to worry about asking my moms or, asking somebody in the old neighborhood to take me to school
Really
because
good. Yeah.
I could walk to school. I could walk to school. I could pass shots out to Del Dino and Taft and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Chris Washerman,
Shout out to Dino.
everybody that lived in you know, um, shouts out, to his family and everybody that lived in the neighborhood was so wholesome. And what made it the icing when you came around and you were Earl, when you came around and you saw that it had a lot of potential. You saw that, hey man, I can hang for a minute. And I love the fact you hung around and you never left. And that's what was the best part of those years because we did everything. Folks,
Everything.
ladies
Every
and gentlemen
weekend.
out there, if you can hear me, we did
Yes, sir. That's a that
everything.
that's the that
And
that's
it
the
but
damn truth. I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna hold you on that
that's
one.
the damn truth.
You're about to tap into something. That's so. So I like that. That's true. So we're gonna switch handles here. Smith the Middle School
Okay,
grade. So we're gonna cut it off at the Smith the Middle School. The third section we're gonna start diving into Osborne and years after that. So that's gonna be a
sure.
really fun one. But this is the second thing I want to get
That's
into.
gonna be the fun one.
Yeah, so I want to get into so today in 2025, man. What you can answer them kind of separately, but what are you doing professionally? What are your passions and what projects do you have? You can start with like what are your professions now? I can go after you with this, but yeah, what
Okay.
what's your
Um,
what do you got going on right now in 2025, man?
Okay, so to answer your question in order, professionally, I'm a security guard full time at night. Hours is 8 p.m. to 5 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday. Then I have Mondays, Tuesdays off. And my second job, I work at my church, give shots out to my church. Um, it's First United Lutheran Church. It's a great church, and if you guys are in the Kennesaw area, please definitely come. Great people. So I also not only a member, I also am an employee there as a janitor, and I'm on the board and I sing. Uh, so that's my professional life. What I'm doing just to get to where I want to
That's
go.
what's
My
up. That's
passion.
what's up.
I'm going to become a drone entrepreneur. Um, I want to become a boss. I knew a long time ago the only way that you can have existential freedom is to have your own business. And flying drones is what I want to do. And become a boss is really, really what I want to do because I want to learn how to get direction. Because I felt like over the years I was taking direction and then I want to pay it forward. And that's my passion. Um, Something I'm not gonna lie, I've never done before. I had friends that had drones, but I wanted to get into something that I know I feel like it's new. I want to try it, and because I know one day I want to be able to get up every day and do something I love. And what drew me to drones was a friend of ours that we know. Um, give shouts out to Ronaldo and Jackson and his
Ronald
kid.
Jackson.
You know, he had a drone. He had it when he was with his mom, and it went all the way to the neighborhood. And him and my old roommate had to go try to retrieve it, but they couldn't find it. But and I think that's what kind of drew me because I'm like, this is not a video game, but it's something that it could be because it's like you had remote cars and remote planes. But I want to become a great boss. You know, I want to give back to the world. You know, part of my
American dream.
segment, well, I'm living a dream. I want to live the
The
dream.
American
You
dream.
know,
The
I
American
want to
dream.
take that.
It's still alive.
Right,
It's not the American nightmare quite yet, man. You could there's
the
we can
fire hat
still
went out.
still hadn't went out yet. Yeah, yeah. I
The
totally
candle's
agree,
still
man.
lit. So,
It is. It definitely is. I love
so
that.
that's what drew
I
me.
love that.
That's what drew me. That's what really drew me to wanting to fly drones was because I knew that I've never done that before, and I like doing stuff I've never done before. And then we're in a technical age. Technology, what you make of it, and what you make of it is on how you use it. You know, you try to do some Terminator shit. You know, trying to want to take over the world, and you know all this crazy shit you see on movies and stuff like that. You know, it's not necessarily false advertisement, but it's false thinking. I try to stay positive. You know, when I saw that you went in the Navy, that's what inspired me to want to do better for myself. And I just want to own my own business because I feel like when you work for people, they don't give you the respect, they don't give you the dignity because everybody has a mask,
Yeah.
and they don't want to pay you for what you work. They don't care about you, and it's miserable. And my life is not about miserable. My life is about love, joyous, and spiritual growth first. Number one, keeping God first. Because if it hadn't been for God, there's no Malik Hendrix. You know,
Absolutely.
and I'm thankful every day to be able to get to my passion that I want to have as a passion. You know, I want to have as a passion every day because I know with the drone world, I can help a lot of people. I can help a lot of businesses. I can help my family. I can help my friends. I can help the less fortunate. Because the thing is, you got to have something in your life that gives you a heartbeat that drives you every day to get out of that bed.
Yeah.
And having a goal, having a love and a dream is the most important thing of our childhood. And we all forgotten that because we're systematically had to live through the system that they pretty much laid out for us. You
Yeah.
know, don't care about
I love how
America,
you said that. I
don't
don't
care
mean to
about
cut you
blacks,
off. I love how you mentioned
no doubt.
dreaming, man. Um, uh, that I don't even think kids do that no more nowadays. I could remember as a kid,
No,
what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, if somebody you're always dreaming of doing something bigger, even if it seemed impossible. Possibly, man. You're always is back
exactly.
back in the day. It was always like this is what I'm going to do. It sounds impossible, but your parents are still going to tell you you can do anything. They used to tell you you can do anything you want to do, son. You can do anything you want to do, daughter. That was huge. That was a really, really, really a big thing. I love that, man. I love that, and I want you. We're gonna move on a little bit. I want you to talk some more on that. That's some good stuff. Um,
Okay.
I'll mention my stuff real quick.
Okay, let's
Like I said, yeah,
okay.
already know I'm retired military, retired Navy. Right now, I'm a college student. I do a little DoorDash and I put some videos on here doing that here sometime. And I'm planning to get my degree myself here in a little bit. In my second
Okay.
career coming up, I plan to, to graduate. I think about 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years left to graduate, get my first degree. I'm gonna go do some more school, man. I'm not trying to go out here work for nobody. I don't work. I don't did it already, man. No, not doing it. Uh, yeah, that's kind of my goals, and it's fun to. I took up this thing. How I found, and I'll mention how I found YouTube. Man, was I've been on YouTube for years. Don't get me wrong. But one of my buddies, Russ, I was telling you about, my boy Russ. Um,
Okay.
he he was doing some YouTube stuff, man. He was like, man, do you want to do it with myself? I'm like, damn, I guess so. And now I kind of caught the bug, man. So now I'm like, well, shoot, let me turn this thing on and let me just start talking. You know what I mean? And now it's kind of like, okay, you can reach people all around the world on this platform, man. So I think it's pretty special. You got to start from the bottom up, but you can constantly continue to grow, push in the direction you want to push in, and it's just pretty cool, man. So I'll move to the next section, Malik. We're at about running at about
Okay.
31 minutes now. We're in good shape right now, running it.
Okay.
Saturday, a lot of people doing a lot of things. We've had some people come in and out. People that's come in and out of here. Thank y'all for coming through. Myself and my buddy Malik. Like I said, we're talking about Xennial nostalgia, man. So this is a guy I've grown up with. We ain't seen each other in person in over about 20 years due to I went to the military, traveled around, did all that stuff, man. But we're gonna get back on track. But we're just talking to y'all. We're talking, man. We just talking like we talk on the phone. We're just doing it on live, man. But Malik, third section, man. Um,
Yeah.
we're gonna start naming some funny
Okay.
things, some funny things, and some I don't want to say wild stories, but we're gonna start talking about Osborne and where we met up and how we used to go out and shit, man. So I was in ninth grade. You were a sophomore by the time I met yourself. 'Cause me and Dale, we got real good. We met at Smith, but we started clicking, and then we met with yourself, and Jerome came along. But talk about Osborne a little bit, man, before we start. How this is where we all really started coming together.
So Osborne, if you remember when I was saying that how they were redistricting everything. I was supposed to go to the Keacher, but
Mm,
it was a choice for me to go to Osborne
okay, yeah,
because that's how it started from when it started for me. It started from the beginning from where Garrett when they started redistricting everything. Hollydale was mainly just it was a neighborhood school, so everybody was going there that lived over on that side. Garrett was different because they were district the neighborhoods from what we you know what we were living. Osborne was um, I had a choice to go to either Osborne or McKeesha. I chose to go to Osborne because of friends. Because I've always moved around in my life, but the kids I went to elementary school with and middle school with, I wanted to go to high school with them too
yeah. That's
because
important.
we had that. It was important. We had that strong bond for all those years. I already had went to a different school, so it kind of seemed like that threw me off because I was wanted to go to TAP because friends were so important to me. I wanted to keep that going for the kids that I knew because there was so much of us. And when I got to Osborne, it was it was
It's
different, man. It was different. Very
it was
very
loose.
loose, man. Like it was loose, man. Like kids was bugged out like for 4 years, and I loved it. And for some reason, I loved it. And
Yeah,
maybe that was my
yeah,
sick mind of wanting to love the chaos and the wildness because I felt like going to McKeechin, even though I lived around, people with ends because of where, the family I came from. So, live around influential people. And my brother going to love it. Was real rich. So I've been around cats that were rich, and that never really
yeah,
it was cool, but it never really. I couldn't see myself getting up wearing uniforms,
yeah,
and
yeah,
after seeing my brother doing it, I'm like, man. And back then, when you're a kid, I'm like, what are you going to work or are you going to school?
yeah.
Like, you
You
know what
got
I'm saying?
that's a good
So
point. That's a really good point. Let me ask you this, man,
So
and this is
the
how I
transition
felt
from
about going there,
okay,
going to Osborne and
yeah,
stuff. Was it like here's how I tell it nowadays. At first, when you're splitting from where we went at, Smitha, you had probably about 40% of the kids that went to McEachern, the good school, right?
yep,
You had about another
right,
40% that went to Osborne, where they're like, oh, the
yeah.
ghetto school they called it, right? It wasn't as bad as people said. And then you had the other 20% that went to
Well,
South
how
High,
bad?
which was in the middle somewhere, right? But don't you think, man, wouldn't you say
Well,
after about, I would say to me, after a while, going to Osborne became a badge of honor after a while. If you know what, if that makes sense. Like it was,
it,
we
it,
were
it became a
good,
bad.
we were
It
good
became a bad.
kids.
It became a badge of honor, huh?
No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, no, I don't want to cut you off. No, it did become a badge of honor because we did a lot of stuff. We like us four, you, me, Dale, and Jerome. We took it to a level, and now when we always have conversations about this, Earl, I always keep going back and thinking like we took it to a level to where we became popular,
Yeah,
and we became popular because of how we rolled, of how we did. We used to work at Whitewater. That was the best times of our life where, we used to all hang, even when you were working. You got to have, you got to take an hour lunch and you were able to get to come hang with us. And,
yeah,
so that was the fulfilling part of, and then we would go to, what was it? Places like they used to be called the Cantina, and I know everybody's gonna laugh when I say this. I know
go
everybody's gonna
ahead.
laugh, but we went to
It's fun.
Cowboys. It's not what you think,
Cowboys.
but
Hey, man,
Cowboys had a
I'm
lot of women.
I'm vouching. Cowboys was amazing. I'm vouching for it. I'm not embarrassed
I'm
either.
vouching. I'm not
That was
embarrassed. I'm
and
not
that was
embarrassed
in
because
that and those two places was in Kennesaw. Now, at that time,
right,
so this is time we're moving. I'm like, I think I'm probably in my late sophomore year. You were junior year by then. I got my license by then, so now I'm driving. Now I'm driving. We used to go out. We left Marietta. We didn't hang out in Marietta, bro. Not what I remember. We used to
nope,
go to Kennesaw. We used to go to
yeah,
Kennesaw to hang out. We were the only kids. And I kid you not, bro. We were the only kids from Osborne that went up there. And and when I say a badge of honor, let's say, for instance, we're at Town Center Mall, right? Remember we used to go to Town Center Mall
yeah,
this was even before the cantina and stuff. And we were mall rats,
yeah,
just like kids in the 90s,
yeah,
people our ages.
yeah,
Instead of going on Facebook, instead of going on Instagram, instead of going on TikTok, everybody took that ass to the mall. We went to the damn mall, bro. That was what it was at. Everybody was there. That was those days, man. But when
yeah.
we would meet people from different schools, tell me if I'm just losing my mind, but whenever, hey, if we met some homies, if we met some girls or something back then, we were like, hey, man, they'd be like, hey, what high school you go to? We go to Osborne. We used to get a double take. Did we not? They'd be like, ooh, y'all go to Osborne? Oh, shit. Damn, I'm not sure if I should be scared of
Yeah.
y'all
Because
I mean, y'all pretty cool though. And that was like a badge of honor, man,
yeah,
because like dudes it was respect, right? Off of that name. When we said Osborne, they'd be like, oh damn, okay. And even with girls, they'd be like, oh damn, girl, they go to Osborne. Is that am I tell me if if I'm just not remembering correctly at my age of 44. Am I is that quite pretty accurate? What was your take on
that's very accurate because the four of us, you know, well, before Jerome came along, the three of us, um, well, number one is like you had a car and you didn't want to sit nowhere. And at the time, you and Dino were able to go out because we were as crew. So I was going to Town Center Mall then. Cobb County. So that's how we were able to see his honor. The badge of honor came when we we ran and we ran Cantina and then moved it to Cowboys because we were, like you said, we were the only ones going. You know, when white kids, when we walk in there, they would look at us, should we be scared or should we be cool? But when they found out we were harmless, like, oh no, they knew off the bat. And it was very welcoming back then. It was very, very welcoming. And then because of the show, what?
No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, it was very welcoming.
Okay. I thought you were about to say something. Because it was so welcoming, and we were there every week. It became our sanctuary. It became our man. You know what I'm saying? It became our thing. You know, it really was our thing. And people at Osborne, they were doing their thing, and their thing was basically, you know, being with the women or, you know, doing what, you know, they're not supposed to be doing, and, you know, or just studying. You know, they didn't really have that grasp of life. The three of us had that grasp of life because we knew it was just more than Cobb County. We knew it was just more than sitting on our old neighborhood, our Bridge and Horseshoe Bend. We knew it was more than
going to,
you know, you sitting at your parents'
alley,
so
bowling alley and Austell. Like, no.
You going to the bowling? Wow, we did all that.
Yeah,
we did all that.
But there was a bigger world out there.
We did all
bigger
that.
World. Yeah,
it's a whole world. And we were exposed to the whole world because we were able to get back from point A to point B, and it was just amazing. We had some amazing times, man. I forgot about the bowling alley, man. Like, so we did I did a lot more with you guys than I did with everybody else because you guys were the starter. You know, everybody else that came along were people I was really hanging with around school. It was still cool because we went to school and stuff like that. But it was the same with the four of us because when Jerome came along, it completed. You know what I'm saying?
Completed everything.
We were really through.
Yep. And let me add this, man. Now, you made a good point. I don't mean to cut you off. Let me add one thing, Rick.
No, you good, brother.
Add one thing. I love what you said with that.
Okay.
And another thing that we learned about as kids, I call us kids of the night. We're 80s babies, 90s kids, 2000s young adults, right? Another thing that we learned, and we learned it just came. How can I say this? At that time, maybe even kids back then, we didn't let anybody in our tight knit group. Anybody just couldn't fucking join us. You feel what I'm saying? If you weren't, if you didn't fucking listen, me coming in the camera right here. Listen what I'm saying. And I'm not talking to you. I'm speaking to everybody. If you didn't fucking qualify to hang out in our group, your motherfucking ass wasn't gonna be there. That was fucking real. That was, and Malik, you can attest to this. If you weren't gonna cut in that group, man. It was a thing about being cool with somebody. You got friends that went to school and everything. That was cool. Hey, what's up, man? Even some of my football teammates. Hey, what's up, dog? All that stuff. But once a cat tried, hey man, can I kick it with y'all? Okay. You guys know that wasn't happening. That wasn't happening. You had to be special, man, to get in that group. And I try to teach my kids today.
Absolutely.
You just can't be friends with anybody. You got to get your what I call your tribe. We had a tribe, man. Like we all had a damn bond that, damn, bro. Like I can hit you up or whatever. Even Dino, Jerome, we can pick right up right where we were at. We spent so much time together, hours and hours together. Even though that was years ago, you can pick right back up. That was like real friendship, real friendship. A lot of that junk is missing today, man. I think with a lot of the kids today, they don't got what we had. that was a real friendship. What do you think about that?
Well, I like how you said kids from the '90s because when you look at kids from the '90s, we were Saved by the Bells. We were the Hang Times. We were the 15s. And for those of you who don't know the show 15, your man Ryan Reynolds was the epitome of that show.
Mm-hmm.
But between all those shows, because I feel what you're saying, Badge of Honor, because when we started going to those places, the whole school came to them places. So
Yeah, we were
for
the
us
first.
being together, everybody started absorbing to us. Everybody used to come up to me. I mean, it got to the point like I'm like, really? I didn't know somebody was gonna ask me, hey, are y'all going to the canteen? Are y'all going to Cowboys?
Yeah.
I mean, I was hoping for y'all to ask me, hey, did you do this test? Did you get a good grade or did you study? You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't never the case. So their case was, hey
What y'all
man,
doing
I
this
heard y'all went to
weekend?
the canteen. I heard his wife.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, there's a lot of girls. I'm like, I don't know about the kid. I mean, there was so many people. That shit got around school in 24 hours.
Man.
And in the week, everybody came up to us like we made it, like we shot a movie or some shit.
Yeah. I remember, bro.
It was
Yes,
crazy.
everybody was coming up to us.
But
Man, where is it at? What we doing? Oh,
everybody,
I don't heard. I'm like,
where's it at?
Man, y'all gonna mess the spot up, man. What y'all do?
Yeah.
Yeah, though, it's true though. That is true.
And that's how
we were like the founding fathers. They need to make a Mount Rushmore of us. Okay?
They honestly do.
We were the four. We were the four guys.
We were the four.
We found it, man. Nobody would ride up Barrett Parkway like that, like we did, man. People, that was like a whole nother world. It was a whole nother world, man. Yeah, man. That was like that, man. It was some good. It was good, man. I just wish I know kids nowadays, man. They don't get this kind of. They're not gonna ever get the kind of um how can I say this? They're not gonna ever like experience the things that we experience, man. Um, because it's just like, man, it's priceless. It's priceless, man. It was really cool. Like I have such fond memories of those times, man. Like yeah, yeah. Like and you were the starter to a lot of that stuff, man. Let me tell you, this guy right here, man, he stirred it up and got it started for us, man. He wasn't scared, bro. He'd go out there. It was just like yeah, he would get it started, man. It was great. It was freaking awesome. I miss it. Those some good days.
And see, and that's where the cultural comes in because of where I've lived. I've applied that to my life from it being ingrained in me.
Yeah.
So when we all got up together, it was meant to be. Like we really were the kids in the '90s. Osborne, was going through so many different changes. Yeah. But the fact is that the whole school knew we went to two different spots we were hanging, like two major different spots. That was and I never really sat back and looked at it like we were responsible for that.
We were responsible.
We were really kids early. We were responsible for it, and different kids. We even had some kids. We were hanging with. Well, I know I probably wasn't hanging with. Were coming hanging with us. Yeah. It was an amazing thing. That's how power and energy and spiritual well-being is so amazing because to be able to turn something from nothing into something, just like what I want to do with owning a business, that right there is God, man. Like it's so pure, it's so genuine. You couldn't even try to fake that shit because there were so many people. When I mean guys, and Earl can contest this. I mean, every single minute. I mean, cats weren't coming to him just every day. These cats, it was one day throughout the whole week, and sometimes it would double because they found out what we were doing. We planned it our market. Yeah, you're right. They should have statues of us behind that because for an entire school to come travel out that they never thought about, it was a real special moment. And the kids of the '90s wasn't really having those kind of moments at Osborne because Osborne, everybody was just doing what they were doing, hanging, chilling, which is cool. But we started a mark because all the stuff that we were doing, Whitewater, bowling alley, malls, cantina, Cowboys, you know, just hanging every day was special, man. And that was a special time in my life. And it's still a special time in my life back then and even now because like you said, if we all get back together, we just picked up like it was yesterday, and it's been like 20 something years. And that's real friendship to me. And that's what I always real friendship, and that's what I always wanted for myself to always have my boys, you know what I'm saying, have my boys back. They make sure 1,000 times I'm gonna take back because the love of friendship is very rare out here. I mean, real friendship. Oh, yeah. You can meet thousands of people every day, but how many can you say that's friendship? And that's what I've always, everywhere I have gone, that's what I wanted for Hollydale, that's what I wanted for Smitha, and that's what I wanted for Osborne. 3 schools that I knew everybody since I went to Hollydale. Yeah. Or just a sidetrack school because of the district. Yeah. Um, I think we do have a bad regular guy that came from 3 of us came from the same background. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 3 of us came from Jerome. I'm not really sure. Jerome was the only born and raised kid from Atlanta. Me, you, and Dino are transplants. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's right. I came a little bit later. Transplants, right. Dino came in like 2nd or 3rd grade. You came, you were here around that same time. I came here my 5th grade year. So yeah, we're all transplants. Jerome is as Jerome used to say, born and raised. You say Atlanta, born and raised. Remember he used to say that shit? Boy, yeah, he was the only one that was born. And you know what? He was a Grady baby. If I'm not mistaken. Jerome was a great. He was a real Atlanta dude, man. And I know Atlanta now. It's changed so much with the gentrification. All the people from up north coming down now. I know it's changed so much, but Jerome was a original Atlanta cat, man. So shout out to Jerome Andrews, man. That dude, shout out to him. He's doing his thing. I'm going to shout out to Dale Dino too. Dale Dino's doing his thing. Maybe one of these days we'll get everybody up on here and get everybody chopping on. They don't know we doing this kind of stuff yet. So, but then I want to drive into our last subject, man. I want to talk about I want to talk some real talk about like how social issues are going on now, cultural issues now, and we can really go into any direction, man. I'm gonna put it like this: back in the '90s, and it really, truly, an early part of the 2000s, I think the social part of this country was from what I seen was going pretty well, man. Racially too, I guess you could say things were, like we had friends of all races, and it wasn't like it wasn't no bullshit going on as far as that, right? It wasn't no divide, as I guess you could say. Now, I guess let's just say starting around like the 2012, 2013, 2014, 15, it seemed to be a change in America now as far as like social issues and cultural issues. And I would say a big part of that is because of social media probably got a big part in it. But I don't know, man. What I don't know exactly where to start with this. But I mean, I guess I would say the mid 2010s was kind of where it started. And I think social media had something to do with it, man. I don't know I got more to say on it, but what do you think? I guess just in America, so culturally and
socially was going on, man? What do you think, man? I know that's a whole lot
I
thrown
think
at
in
you.
the, I
Just
think
take what you want
once
from it and walk with it.
no, that's actually really good. I think what it was is over the years, and our parents starts back from our parents and our grandparents' years, the world was changing every time from every generation. When it got to our generation socially, we didn't have to deal with a lot. We still dealt with internet and cell phones and stuff like that. I mean, it was coming of age. But when it got to the technical part of, you know, of social media, we didn't have to deal. We didn't. Oh well, if I go home, I'm just not gonna Facebook somebody. I could just use a regular call them up. I think what it was is socially with that, it took a lot from us being who we are. So back in the '90s, it was such a great time. We didn't have to deal with we didn't have to deal with a lot of that shit because we were still old school. Even though stuff that was coming up around us like technology,
Yeah,
we dealt with it, but it wasn't an everyday. It wasn't like an everyday. Well, I got to go online to do this, or I got to go online to do that. It was just coming up. It was a baby, and it was
yeah,
trying to mature as a full what it is now. And socially, times in the '90s were different. That's when they started. I felt like they gave nobody was one for nothing. Everybody had jobs.
yeah,
The house. Um, it was just one of those times where I wish I could go back
yeah.
to because I feel like the more social media got bigger, the more problems that we had. And people that are uh, realizing now, like they did then, how the living situation with them, because you got to remember, the cost of living back then was you could have $10,000 in the 1990s, and that'll be able to take care of your family. You have $10,000 now, you barely can go get a nickel off the street because prices are going up. And it was never like all the problems that look, war breaking out in California. War was breaking
Man,
out. I was just seeing the other day, well, actually last night, Israel, catch shooting bombs in Iran. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like and then you still got the living in the war with Russia and Ukraine. Then Africa was going through some things. For other parts of the United States, it's social media that's brainwashing us by going through all of this, because nobody, like, let me ask you a question, Earl. How many people could you say that literally sit down and eat with their family without having the TV on? We don't do that no more.
yeah. That's
You know what I'm
that's
saying? You're
extinct.
like,
That don't
well, we're
exist no
going to
more.
have dinner.
That don't exist.
That don't exist no more. So everything that didn't exist from the '90s was such a great era because we weren't into these times right now.
Nope.
Everybody was good. Everybody was eating. Nobody was starving.
Nobody was starving.
I mean, the homeless problem was still there, but the social love, when you bring stuff in the mix that may or may not be good for us, you just never know which way. Anything could go left.
Yeah,
And I think because the social media that has grown and technology that has grown and grown and grown with the news and everything. So everything, now don't get me wrong, social media is good depending on how you
yeah.
use it. But I think overall, it's just always been, I feel like demonized, man. One after another, one after another. Then we have natural disasters. If you can remember, Earl, did we go through any of this stuff in the '90s? No,
Oh
not
man,
really.
we ain't
We
go
would
through none of
have
that shit.
natural disasters, but it was a time and a place for stuff to happen.
Yeah,
Now, look out your window, this shit is happening every minute.
yeah,
And it disgusts me because, you know, I feel like as a real human, not just American culture, but as human beings, we all need to look at ourselves on what we were really doing. What is it really good for us? And that's why I want to start my business because systematically these people act like they know what's good for us, like the president knows what's good for us. President really don't know what's good for us. President don't come over here and 3174 Barrett Lakes, you know what I'm saying, to Malik Hendrix's house. He don't ask about issues and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I had to look and understand how violent that this world does keep getting. I mean, it's been violent since the beginning of time, but it's just gotten so much violent. It's putting a hole in our universe and in our beloved Earth. You know, people don't trash. You know, they don't pick stuff up. I mean, it's insane, man. Even the little stuff is like, what are we doing over here? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I want to be able to start my own business so I can get out of that where and do what I want, just like I do now. But the social, but I think what needs to really happen, I think our so-called government needs to come together instead of bullshitting on who has the biggest wallet, who has the biggest dinner party, who has the biggest power, because all that is ego, and because of the ego that we've had is the reason why shit is fucked up. And people thinking you know what's best when you don't, because the only reason why you think you know what's best is because you have power. And power comes with great responsibility. And if you don't have that responsibility, then we might as well, God forbid, knock on wood, just continuously having soldiers. Look, they had to bring soldiers to Los Angeles, California, to our American soil.
Yeah.
They brought
That would have
soldiers.
never.
It got so bad, the cops couldn't even do nothing to bring in. Where individually, where do we stand? Where do we stand as an individual? For you said before we got on here, you want to. It's staying connected with God. That's what we need. We always needed that, but we need them even more now because socially, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years like that, but all of it comes from a lot of the technology that's being used. Yeah. And a lot of what I would like to say is the lie. The lie is what gets everything distorted.
A game.
Like you remember that game telephone, Earl?
A game of telephone, basically. Let me add on to
A
that.
game of telephone.
Let me add on there. I like how you said that, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's out of this shit is out of control nowadays, man. And I think a lot of people don't want to try to get to the root of the problem. I mean, think of it like this, man. In the early 2000s, man, if you're talking, you're going on a date with a girl, was it brought up? Are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? That fucking shit didn't matter, right? Now, who gives a fuck? I don't care. I don't care what you are.
This is a flying fuck.
Let's just go. We kicking it, right? Nowadays, I mean, I know. Um, I want to say, man, this stuff kind of started out, man, and I'm just speaking what I think. Um, like I said, in the mid 2010s, I think this stuff, the ball started rolling slowly towards this stuff, right? So I'm gonna name a few things I think happened to get and I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but I'm just gonna tell them kind of a couple things I think uh happen as far as that socially shit, man, because it's out of control now. It's crazy now. Now it's a monster that we cannot contain, and this isn't America. This isn't what we're trying to do. This is nuts. Okay, I think a lot of this, I don't want to sit here and talk. I'm not talking about the LGBT um, community at all, but I think a lot that community and a lot of the politics gotten better with each other. No pun intended. Now, gotten better with each other in the 2012, 2013 ish, and all that stuff went on and happened. That and because look, the Democrat, I don't want to make this political, but we almost can't help to kind of bring it up, talking about what's going on socially and what's going on culturally. The Democrat Party and the Republican Party was not that different from each other 20 years ago. Wasn't a big difference. It was just a couple of differences in ideals,
Mhm.
and then they, they could hash the differences out. Now things, the thing, both parties has swung. The ideals are it's just so far away, right? To where now it is like you you wonder, man. I wonder if my neighbor's a Democrat or Republican. Like it's like what the fuck? Why is this shit so fucking important? I'm not talking that motherfucker. That's a Republican. I'm not talking to them. That's a Democrat. Or man, this motherfucker right here is a black conservative. I'm not talking to him. He's a COON. He can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the shit's out of control, man. This junk is out of
Well, it's just
control.
so distorted.
It's crazy to me. I
Yeah.
hate it and I hate it, man. That's why I speak my mind all the time now because I just don't give a fuck now. I'm gonna speak whatever I think it is. That's what I think it is. I'm not here to appease nobody. I'm not here to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's sickening nowadays what's
Right.
going on to where we are. It's sick, man. It's crazy. And I'm
It's
just gonna bring it over to right now, the 2025 LA riots that we have going on right now. That is a
right.
effect. I'm writing an essay in school called Cause and Effect. That is an effect of everything that's been going on all this time. That's an effect of it, man, and it's nuts. It's crazy. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'm gonna
Right.
give you. We're gonna kind of wrap this
Well,
up in the next five,
I
but
think
give me your take on that.
okay. I think what my take is. I think my take is that we lost community. You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah.
saying? Real community. We lost a lot of stuff that we had in the '90s because and I know a lot of it is different eras call for different things, but you should never lose your wholesome, your value, your principles, and your moral judgments because no matter what age we are, what song we're playing, what planet we're on, we can never lose that. We can never lose uh, where you come from because that's a power that we have that can't be taken away. And because like I said, because with all this technology moving in AI and shit like that, like people want to jump onto it, and I don't think they really think about it. I don't think they really think about what's the harm or what's the use. Political power, because they don't care about Republicans or Democrats. They don't care about each other. They just care about the power that you can have over somebody. And that's just the way I feel. If I know I have that much power over you, I'm gonna feel great about myself. I'm gonna feel great about myself every fucking day because I have power over you. I'm basically what you can do, what you can't do. It's almost like being in jail. They got power over everybody. So what do? Stay out of jail. You don't want to give nobody any kind of that much power. And as individuals, human beings, day to day, in and out, people feel like they have power over you because they have power over somebody has power over them. But what they don't minded, well mannered, respectable, you know what I'm saying, brilliant and intelligent guys like both of us, we're not going for that shit. Because
Right.
we know the difference between right and the difference between wrong. Problem is, everybody does wrong when everybody does right. It's the same thing like the war on drugs in the '80s, where what's Ronald Reagan's name? Nancy Reagan.
Nancy Reagan.
What did they say? Say no to drugs.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Say no to drugs. But the problem is, too many people are saying yes. So when you take away from the real duties of trying to really help America, the way people these days, they don't need to. Oh, I feel like we got. No, you should generally be like, hey, let's do this for you. They're going through the same thing we're going just because we might be in a little bit of a better position, but we're still human beings. We still bleed the same. we still have issues of having a little bit of power to oppose of somebody always having issues, just like we having issues like a homeless person. You know what I'm saying? So I think really technology just kind of it's a good and it's a bad. I mean, it's a pro and a con. But I think too many people need to be instead of relying on technology a lot, they need to rely on the man upstairs that gave us all this.
Yeah.
You know, we're so lost in this world of evilness and despicableness and just tyranny and you know what I'm saying and deterrence. It's insane. And that's why I always look at as an individual, what do I got to do for myself? I got to keep myself safe. I got to keep my family safe. I got to keep my friends safe. People around me I love safe. How do I do that? By doing the next right thing. I told this guy last night when I was working, he wanted to come to the office and figure out what to do about bringing his ID. And I was like, well, listen, he's like, can I bring it or should I let it slide? I'm like, listen, you don't want to never let nothing slide. If you do the next hit him, he's on the phone, he's like, yeah. Listen to this man, doing the next right thing. Because when you try to take the shorter route in life, you come up short. And you gotta really be able to look at yourself and be like, what is every day? Is what I'm doing every day wrong? And what I'm doing every day, not only benefit me, but help benefit somebody else by paying it forward. You got to pay it forward. A lady at Walmart one day, and this is all what started, she gave me $100. And I've never had nobody do that because they wanted to pay it forward. And that's the reason why I love that movie, Paying It Forward, because it was deep, it was real. And I think people got to get back to the realness in this world, but it's just so, we're trying to heal a wound that can't be healed. And this world has so many battle scars, it's really not impossible, but it's very, very extremely difficult and frustrating to get what I like to call the American dream. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we got to hold hands and sing cool. Because if we lose respect, what do we really have out here? Yeah. As a human being, as an individual, what do we have? Like, is it really necessary to have soldiers in the street and one of the most, beautiful states, what I'm saying, the United States? Out of their home and try to want to rule them because you feel like you have power to do that. Like if people get off that, look at human beings as real people, I think that the world will begin to start looking at things different. But the world has to heal itself, and right now we don't have no real. I mean, we have solutions, but not no real solution to break that barrier. I think people that love living in chaos, if they're not waking up across the room or yelling at us or kids or fighting with people on the street, stuff like that, if they feel like they don't have that, they're not living. And that's a horrible way to live. Horrible way to live. So I think community, we got to bring that back strong. And this is one of, I always keep going back to this one to start my business because I'm going to be in that position to where I could make my contribution, give back, like really give back, but really show. Because when I start my business, it's listening stories, hearing everything. That's the test out of everything that we do in this world is finding some kind of solution. Yeah. We have to find a solution so we can get back to what we had in the 90s. We weren't going, we had stuff going on in the 90s, but it wasn't. We've been in a recession ever since the recession. Yeah. We haven't climbed out. because we still owe in different countries trillions of dollars. About trillions of dollars. Hell, I barely even owe people. That's the issue. But trillions. So I think gotta get into the spiritual foundation and get back to being community.
I agree with that.
And I think if we have that,
there's two things you said there that really hit me that I really, really like. Community and solutions. I think we are lacking in both of those right now in 2025. Having community and both are, and just to break down real quick, um, community, and this is just I'm gonna speak real quick of my last military experience. In the military, there's community. There really is community with us, with the families. I really recognize. Um, it's like a bubble. It's like a bubble. You know what I mean? Like outside in the civilian world, there's no community, man. I really noticed that, boy. It is no community. It is like, damn. I wish it were. I wish we could get back to that, having having that kind, man. I mean, sometimes there is, but I mean, macro level in a whole is not community. And getting to solutions. I think a lot of these people nowadays don't don't want solutions. And what I mean by that is, you remember when I was telling you about my sociology class? There's three theoretical perspectives. You got structural, what's it called, man? Structure. God dang it, structural functionalism. That's one where you got conflict theory, where it always has to be conflict, and then you got symbolic something. I gotta think. I can't think. I'm having a brain fart right now. Sorry about that. But right now we're in an age to where we always there's always conflict, and with that conflict, we don't want any solutions, man. And that ain't gonna get us anywhere. That's not gonna get us anywhere. It's gonna dig us in a more of a hole than we already are in, and that's trash, man. I am not. I don't think it's good, man. But Malik, we're gonna about to wrap this up, man. I so love having you on here. We're gonna do this again. Yeah, we're gonna come up with more ideas. Speak on. You got a lot to say. Um, so what was I gonna say? Tell. So I know you got your page. Do you have your handle yet to tell some of the folks where that they can find you? If you don't got your handle already yet, we'll get it. We'll get it together for the next show. But did you memorize your handle as far as your YouTube? You guys are showing down
kind of on that.
there? Okay,
Sorry about that.
no worries. No, we'll
Um,
take care of that, man. Because I just want eventually we're gonna get the audience out here to get to watch you. Or like I said, these videos are gonna be played back on YouTube on the page, so you can go out there and check it out and see it, man. We're still in our infancy stages of this whole thing, man. But any final thoughts that you want to put out there in with about a minute of time, Malik, to the audience or anything you want to say? Any final thoughts?
say so. Stay true to God first, and stay true to yourself. You know, uh, and the great quote heard in there ever. God rest it. Uh, be water on you all my life, and blessed for the opportunity, and bless you too for the opportunity to be able to do stuff like that, to have great conversations. And that's just really all I got, man. Like, just find a balance in your life, and just keep it and keep the balance, keep the energy going, because it's all energy. It's all balance. And, things are gonna always get thrown off, but you gotta get back on track to where you can stay on that balance. and I just want people to take away that that no matter what it is,
Awesome.
no matter who tells you that they are or not, you're all well worth it. And all I can say is stay true to yourself, man. And I think if you stay true to God first, stay true to God value because He helps you stay true to yourself. He helps you how to learn how to be yourself. He helps you of who you are because He created you. He created everybody. So my best advice, not to sound like a broken record, stay true to yourself. Find God, stay true to yourself, and find something that you want to do. And we're gonna be doing more of these. And uh, I give shout out to other people that I couldn't, like my cousin and my friend Emily, and a lot of other people. And I give highly love and respect for you two and you as well, Earl. Stay true to yourself. But stay true to
No,
yourself.
we definitely appreciate it, Malik. One of my guys, man. This whole thing was called Xennial Nostalgia. We went over some things from back in the day, some things that are going on today. This is my old buddy from. I've known this guy for oh man, over probably about 30 years. Yeah, it's probably been about 30 years I've known this guy, man. Um, One of my really good friends, man. We're on here cutting up, speaking some way. He has a lot of wisdom, a lot of good nuggets for life. I appreciate him coming here on the platform, my platform. He will have his own platform here, running it up here soon. He got a lot to say, and I just want to give him a chance to speak his mind a little bit, man. I think he's awesome. He's doing his thing, man. Like I said, next time he's on here, we're gonna have his handle out here squared away, so you guys can go follow him and go mess around with him, man. It's all community here in YouTube. I love it. But we're gonna take off
And
this.
that's one thing I did want to still new at this, just getting everything set up and working on that out. But thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the Earl. Thank you for the opportunity, you two.
No, I know you got it, man.
And can't really give y'all too much information. You know, everything set up with my LLC, getting YouTube and everything started. This thing is keep going. This thing hasn't stopped.
That's right. That's right, man. I know you got it, man.
We keep it going. We did it.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, we're gonna leave y'all with this, man. Thank you for you guys just coming in and out of here, man. I appreciate it. We're just having a conversation here, cutting up, talking a little bit. Having it was a fun time. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, man. Your boy Tuck, this Malik Hendrix, man. And yeah, we try to get on here a little bit. Try to get on here a little more often, man, and have conversation. We'll yeah about different things. About different things. There's no limits to what we will or will not talk about, man. So that's it. That's it.
I think that's very, very important.
Yep.
I think that's important because recognize that this is what needs to be more, and you know that makes you strong. So I'm very eternally blessed. I did okay, but I'm just eternally blessed. Just eternally blessed.
Well, man.
So
Well, like I said,
I love to do.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, man, we're glad, glad to have you. We will be doing this again. Um, but that's gonna be it for us, guys. And you guys have a good rest of your Saturday. God bless.
God bless.